Welcome back to Science with Sleepy, where curiosity drifts like morning mist, and tonight's journey stretches across 2 full hours, because the question of life without work touches everything. Imagine the lights dimmed low, a gentle hum of ambient sound behind my voice, and your favorite blanket pulled close, as we drift into one of humanity's most profound questions. Picture this: you wake up in the morning, the sun is rising, the world is quiet, peaceful, you stretch, you breathe, you look around, and you realize something. You don't have to go to work today. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever again. Robots are handling everything. They're cooking breakfast in the kitchen. They're cleaning the house. They're maintaining the garden. They're running the farms. They're building the buildings. They're teaching the children. They're healing the sick. They're creating the art. They're doing everything, every job, every task, every bit of work. What do you do? How do you spend your day? What gives your life meaning? Who are you if you don't work? How does society function? How do relationships change? What becomes important? What do humans become when freed from the need to work? Tonight we're going to explore exactly that. We're going to wander slowly through what life would be like if robots did all the work. We'll drift from the science of automation all the way to the long-term evolution of human society. We'll discover how robots and AI work today. We'll learn about universal basic income and economic experiments. We'll explore the psychology of purpose and meaning. We'll imagine a day in a post-work world. And we'll consider what humanity might become when work is optional. The story begins with a simple question. What is work? We do it every day. We define ourselves by it. We organize our lives around it. But what if it disappeared? What if robots could do everything? What would that mean for us, for our society, for our sense of purpose? This isn't science fiction anymore. Robots are already doing many jobs. AI is already handling many tasks. Automation is already changing our world. The question isn't whether this will happen. The question is how quickly, and what it will mean when it does. As we drift through this long, gentle exploration, we'll discover how current automation works, how robots see and understand the world, how AI learns and makes decisions. We'll talk about economics, about money and jobs and resources, about universal basic income experiments happening right now. We'll explore psychology, about work and identity, about purpose and meaning, about what humans need to thrive, and we'll imagine the possibilities. What could we achieve? What could we become? What could humanity accomplish when freed from the need to work? The transformation wouldn't happen overnight. It would be gradual, peaceful, like the changing of seasons. Like the slow growth of a tree, change would come slowly, carefully, giving us time to adapt, time to plan, time to imagine what comes next. This question touches on everything, on how we understand ourselves, on how we organize society, on what gives life meaning. As we explore tonight, we're not just learning about robots, we're learning about ourselves, about our needs, about our potential, about what it means to be human. So settle in, let your breathing slow, and let your mind drift with me into the peaceful exploration of a world transformed. We're about to explore how life would change if robots did all the work. The journey begins now, and it will take us from current automation to the far future of human potential, all in calm language that is easy to follow. Chapter 1: What is work? Understanding what robots would replace. To understand how life would change if robots did all the work, we first need to understand what work is. What would robots replace? What tasks would they handle? What jobs would disappear? And what would remain uniquely human? Work is many things. It's physical labor, building, farming, manufacturing, cleaning, moving things from place to place. It's mental tasks, analyzing data, making decisions, solving problems, managing projects. It's creative work, writing, designing, composing music, creating art. It's service jobs, teaching, healing, caring for others, serving customers. It's everything we do to survive, to thrive, to contribute. But here's something interesting. Robots are already doing many of these things. Right now. Today. In factories around the world, robots assemble cars. They weld metal with precision humans can't match. They paint surfaces perfectly, every time. They move heavy objects effortlessly. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't get tired. They don't need breaks. They don't make mistakes from fatigue. They don't need sleep. They don't need food. They just work, consistently, reliably, perfectly. Consider a car factory. In the past, hundreds of humans worked there. They assembled parts. They welded frames. They painted bodies. They installed engines. It was hard work, physical work, repetitive work. Now robots do most of it. Humans supervise. They program, they maintain. But the physical work, that's robots. The repetitive work, that's robots. The dangerous work, that's robots. In warehouses, robots sort packages. They read labels. They know where everything goes. They move inventory automatically. They load trucks efficiently. They navigate through aisles, avoiding obstacles, avoiding each other. They work alongside humans. Sometimes they work alone. Entire warehouses run by robots. No humans needed. They're getting better every year. Faster, more precise, more capable, more independent. Imagine a warehouse. Thousands of packages arrive every day. They need to be sorted, stored, retrieved, shipped. In the past, humans did this. They walked miles every day. They lifted heavy boxes. They memorized locations. They worked long hours. Now robots do it. They never get tired. They never forget. They're always accurate. They work around the clock. The warehouse never sleeps. The robots never stop. In offices, AI systems analyze data, massive amounts of data, more than humans could ever process. They find patterns. They detect trends. They make predictions. They process information instantly. They answer customer questions 24 hours a day, in multiple languages. They schedule appointments, optimizing everyone's time. They write reports, summarizing complex information. They make recommendations based on vast amounts of data. They learn from patterns. They improve over time, getting smarter, getting better, getting more capable. Think about customer service. In the past, humans answered phones. They helped customers. They solved problems. They were limited by time, by knowledge, by availability. Now, AI chatbots handle most questions. They're available always. They know everything in the database. They can help thousands of people simultaneously. They never get frustrated. They never have a bad day. They just help. Consistently. Patiently. Effectively. In hospitals, robots assist surgeons. They help with precise movements. They can work in ways human hands cannot. AI systems analyze medical images. They detect patterns humans might miss. They help diagnose diseases. They suggest treatments. In farms, automated systems plant seeds. They water crops. They harvest produce. They monitor soil conditions. They optimize growing conditions. They work day and night. They don't need rest. This is happening now, not in some distant future, today. Robots and AI are already transforming work. They're already replacing some jobs. They're already changing how we work. But what about everything else? What about jobs that seem more complex, more human? What about teaching? What about creative work? What about jobs that require empathy, understanding, connection? Here's where it gets interesting. AI is learning to do these things too. AI systems can now write stories, they can create images, they can compose music, they can teach students, they can provide therapy, they can understand emotions, they can respond with empathy. This doesn't mean they're as good as humans, not yet, but they're learning. They're improving, every day, every week, every year. The question isn't whether AI can do these things, the question is when. And how well. There are different types of AI. Narrow AI is designed for specific tasks. It can do one thing very well, like playing chess, or recognizing faces, or translating languages, but it can't do other things. It's specialized, focused. General AI would be different. It would be like human intelligence. It could learn anything. It could adapt to new situations. It could understand context. It could think creatively. We don't have general AI yet. But many scientists think we might. Someday. Maybe soon. Maybe in decades. Maybe in centuries. We don't know. But we don't need general AI for robots to do most work. Narrow AI is enough for many tasks. And narrow AI is getting better, more capable, more versatile. It can handle more and more jobs, more and more tasks. So what would all the work mean? It would mean robots handling every job category: physical labor, mental tasks, creative work, service jobs, everything. Every task humans do to survive and thrive. But here's something important to understand. This wouldn't happen overnight. It would be gradual, very gradual, peaceful. Like the changing of seasons. Slowly, naturally, beautifully. Some jobs would disappear first, simple ones, repetitive ones, jobs that are easy to automate, like data entry, like assembly line work, like simple customer service. Then, more complex jobs, jobs that require more skill, more judgment, more creativity, like some forms of analysis, like some forms of design, like some forms of teaching. Then even more complex ones, jobs that seem uniquely human, like complex problem solving, like creative work, like emotional support. The transition would take time, decades, maybe centuries, giving us time to adapt, to understand, to prepare, time to plan, to design systems, to create solutions, time to imagine what comes next, to explore possibilities, to create the future we want. The transition would be uneven. Some industries would automate faster, some slower. Some jobs would disappear quickly, some would persist longer, some people would be affected early, some later. The transition would be messy, complex, challenging, but also gradual, giving us time to adapt, time to prepare, time to create solutions, time to ensure no one is left behind, time to make the transition peaceful, meaningful, beneficial for everyone. The timeline is uncertain, very uncertain. Some experts think significant automation could happen in decades, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. They point to rapid advances in AI, in robotics, in automation. They see exponential growth, accelerating change. Others think it will take much longer, a century, more. They point to the complexity of human work, to the challenges of automation, to the need for human judgment, for human creativity, for human connection. The truth is, we don't know. We can't predict the future. We can't know exactly when, or exactly how. But we can explore what it might mean, what it might look like, what it might feel like. We can imagine, we can plan, we can prepare, we can create the future we want, thoughtfully, carefully, peacefully. The uncertainty is actually peaceful. It gives us time to understand, time to adapt, Time to prepare, time to create solutions, time to ensure the transition is beneficial for everyone. Not rushed, not forced, but gradual, thoughtful, peaceful. The uncertainty allows us to explore, to imagine, to plan, to create, without pressure, without urgency. Just exploration, just imagination, just peaceful preparation. Current automation is already impressive. Manufacturing robots work in factories worldwide. Self-driving vehicles are being tested on roads. AI systems handle customer service. Automated systems manage farms. Smart homes control lighting and temperature. Robots assist in surgery. AI analyzes medical images. The list goes on and on. But there's still much work humans do, work that requires human judgment, human creativity, human connection, work that robots can't do yet. Maybe they never will, or maybe they will, we don't know. What we do know is this: automation is increasing. Robots are getting better. AI is learning more. The trend is clear. More and more work is being automated. More and more jobs are changing. More and more tasks are handled by machines. This isn't necessarily bad. It could be wonderful, truly wonderful. It could free humans from dangerous work. Mining, construction, manufacturing, jobs that risk lives, that cause injuries, that harm health. It could free us from boring work, repetitive tasks, mindless work. Work that doesn't engage us, that doesn't challenge us, that doesn't fulfill us. It could free us from work that doesn't fulfill us. Work that doesn't align with our values. Work that doesn't use our talents. Work that doesn't bring us joy. It could give us time, real time, unhurried time. Time to explore the world, ourselves, possibilities. Time to create art, music, writing, everything. Time to connect with others, with nature, with ourselves. Time to become who we're meant to be, our best selves, our fullest selves, our most authentic selves. Automation could be liberation, not threat, but opportunity, not loss, but gain, not ending, but beginning. The beginning of something new, something better, something more human, something more meaningful, something more fulfilling. Automation could free us to be human, to explore, to create, to connect, to become, to thrive, to flourish, to live fully. Not just survive, but thrive. Not just exist, but flourish. Not just get by, but live fully, beautifully, meaningfully. But it also raises questions, important questions, profound questions. What happens to jobs? Do they disappear? Do they transform? Do new ones appear? What happens to people who lose their jobs? How do they survive? How do they adapt? How do they find meaning? How does society function without work organizing everything? Without jobs structuring time? Without employment defining identity? How do we distribute resources fairly, equally? How do we ensure everyone has enough? How do we find meaning beyond work, beyond jobs, beyond employment? How do we find purpose? In what? Through what? For what? These questions matter. They require answers. They require thought. They require planning. They require solutions. They require care. They require intention. They require commitment. To everyone. To fairness. To justice. To possibility. To wonder. These are the questions we'll explore as we continue our journey. But always remember, change is gradual. Transformation is peaceful. We have time. Time to understand. Time to adapt. Time to plan. Time to imagine what comes next. The journey from current automation to a world where robots do all the work is a long one. It might never fully happen. Or it might happen faster than we expect. But the exploration itself is valuable. The imagining is peaceful. The wonder of possibility is enough. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that work is many things: physical, mental, creative, service-oriented. And robots are learning to do all of it. Slowly, gradually, peacefully. The transformation is already beginning. The future is already here. We just need to understand what it means. To understand this fully, we need to explore what happens to jobs, to money, to economics, to how we organize society. And that brings us to the economic revolution. Chapter 2: The Economic Revolution: Money, Jobs, and Universal Basic Income. If robots did all the work, what would happen to jobs? What would happen to money? How would people survive? How would society function? These are economic questions, but they're also human questions. Questions about survival, about dignity, about how we organize ourselves. Let's start with something we know. Automation has been replacing jobs for a long time. This isn't new. When machines were invented, they replaced some jobs. When factories were built, they changed how people worked. When computers arrived, they transformed many industries. Each time, jobs disappeared. But new jobs appeared too. Different jobs. Jobs that didn't exist before. When cars replaced horses, jobs for horse handlers disappeared. Blacksmiths who shod horses, stable workers who cared for them, carriage drivers who drove them. These jobs vanished. But new jobs appeared. Jobs for car mechanics, to fix engines, to maintain vehicles, to keep them running. Jobs for gas station attendants, to fuel cars, to service them. Jobs for road builders, to create highways, to maintain infrastructure. The economy adapted, people adapted, new jobs replaced old ones. When computers replaced typewriters, jobs for typists changed. Secretaries who typed documents, clerks who entered data, these jobs transformed. But new jobs appeared. Jobs for computer programmers, to write code, to create software, to build systems. Jobs for IT support, to help users, to maintain systems. Jobs for data analysts, to process information, to find patterns. The economy adapted, people adapted. New skills replaced old ones. When automation replaced factory workers, jobs for manual laborers changed. Assembly line workers, machine operators, these jobs decreased, but new jobs appeared. Jobs for robot technicians, to program robots, to maintain them, to repair them. Jobs for automation engineers, to design systems, to optimize processes. Jobs for quality control specialists, to ensure perfection. The economy adapted, people adapted, new roles replaced old ones. This pattern has held for centuries. Through agricultural revolution, through industrial revolution, through information age, old jobs disappear, replaced by new ones. New jobs appear, created by change. The economy adapts, finding new ways, creating new opportunities. People adapt, learning new skills, finding new roles. Society adapts, organizing differently, structuring differently. It's been peaceful, not chaotic, not disruptive, but peaceful, gradual, taking time, allowing adaptation, manageable. People can handle it. Society can handle it. But what if this time is different? What if automation is different? What if the new jobs can also be automated? What if robots can do everything? Even the new jobs, even the creative jobs, even the complex jobs. What then? What happens? How do we adapt? How do we survive? How do we thrive? These are the questions. The crucial questions. The questions we must answer. The questions we must solve. With care. With intention. With commitment. To everyone. To fairness. To justice. To possibility. To wonder. This pattern has held for centuries. Old jobs disappear. New jobs appear. The economy adapts. People adapt. Society adapts. It's been peaceful, gradual, manageable. But what if this time is different? What if robots can do everything? What if they can do the new jobs too? What if there are no jobs left for humans? What then? This is the question economists are exploring. Some think new jobs will always appear. Humans are creative, will find new things to do, new ways to contribute, new ways to create value. Others think this time might be different. Robots are getting smarter, AI is learning more, they might be able to do everything. Even the creative jobs, even the complex jobs, even the jobs we haven't imagined yet. We don't know which view is correct. But we can explore what might happen if robots really did all the work. If there really were no jobs left, how would society function? How would people survive? This is where universal basic income comes in. Universal basic income, or UBI, is a simple idea. Elegantly simple, profoundly simple. Every person receives a regular payment. Monthly, or weekly, regular, reliable, predictable. Enough to cover basic needs, not luxury, but essentials. Food, nutritious food. Enough food, shelter, safe shelter, comfortable shelter, clothing, appropriate clothing, healthcare, basic healthcare. The essentials, what we need to survive, to have dignity, to live with basic security. No conditions, no requirements, no tests, no proof of need. No work requirement, just a basic income for everyone. Regardless of circumstances. Regardless of ability. Regardless of employment. Just everyone, receiving enough. To survive. To have dignity. To live with basic security. The idea is simple. But profound. It recognizes that everyone deserves basic security. Basic dignity. Basic enough. It recognizes that if robots create abundance, everyone should benefit. Not just owners, not just privileged, but everyone. It recognizes that survival shouldn't depend on work, that dignity shouldn't depend on employment, that basic needs shouldn't be conditional, they should be guaranteed. For everyone, always. This is the idea. Simple, profound, beautiful, possible. The idea is that if robots are doing all the work, they're creating value. Enormous value. Immense value. They're producing goods. Everything we need. Food, clothing, housing, everything. They're providing services, healthcare, education, transportation, everything. They're creating wealth, abundance, value. But who benefits from this value? Currently, the owners of the robots benefit. The companies that own the automation benefit. The individuals who own the technology benefit. They accumulate wealth. They benefit from automation. But what about everyone else? What about the people whose jobs disappeared? What about the people who don't own robots? What about the people who don't own companies? What about everyone else? Do they benefit? Or do they suffer? Do they have enough? Or do they struggle? Do they thrive? Or do they just survive? These are crucial questions. Questions of fairness. Questions of justice. Questions of distribution. Questions that matter deeply, profoundly, essentially. Universal basic income would distribute this value. Not accumulate it, not hoard it, but distribute it, fairly, equally, to everyone. It would ensure everyone benefits from automation. Not just owners, not just privileged, but everyone. Everyone who exists. Everyone who lives. Everyone who is human. It would ensure everyone has enough to survive. Food, shelter, healthcare, the basics, to thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. To have opportunities, to have choices, to have possibilities, to live with dignity, not just existence, but dignity, not just survival, but respect, not just getting by, but living with worth, with value, with dignity. This distribution would be fair. Not equal outcomes necessarily, but equal opportunity, equal access, equal enough. Everyone would have the basics, everyone would have security, everyone would have dignity, everyone would have opportunity, everyone would have possibility. This is what universal basic income would provide. Basic security, basic dignity, basic enough, for everyone, always, not sometimes, but always, not for some, but for everyone. This is the promise, the possibility, the hope. This isn't just a theory. It's being tested, right now, around the world. In Finland, they tested UBI with unemployed people. 2,000 people received a basic income, €560 per month. For 2 years. No conditions, no requirements, no need to prove they were looking for work, just money to live on. Enough to cover basic needs, enough to survive, enough to have dignity. What happened? The results were fascinating. People were happier. They reported less stress, less anxiety, less worry. They had more time. Time to think, time to plan, time to explore. They pursued education. They took courses. They learned new skills. They started businesses, small businesses, creative projects, things that mattered to them. They took care of their health. They went to the doctor. They exercised. They ate better. They spent more time with family, with friends, with community. They didn't just sit around doing nothing. They used their time productively, creatively, meaningfully. They found purpose. They found meaning. They found ways to contribute. The experiment showed something important. When people have basic security, they don't become lazy. They become more active, more creative, more engaged. They pursue what matters to them. They contribute in their own ways. They find meaning beyond work. In Alaska, they have something similar, the Alaska Permanent Fund. It was created in 1976. It's funded by oil revenues. The state invests the money, then distributes the returns. Every resident receives an annual payment, usually between $1,000 and $2,000. It's not enough to live on completely, but it helps. It provides a basic income, a supplement, a safety net. And it's been working for decades. Since 1982. Over 40 years. It's popular, it's accepted, it's normal. People use it, they spend it, they save it, they invest it. It helps, it matters, it works. The Alaska example shows something important. Universal basic income isn't just theory, it's practical, it's doable, it's sustainable, it can work, it has worked. For decades, in a real place, with real people. It's not perfect, but it's possible, it's achievable, it's real. Other places are testing UBI too. Cities in the United States, countries in Europe, experiments in Africa, they're all exploring the same question. What happens when people receive a basic income? What do they do? How do they live? How does society change? The results are encouraging. Very encouraging, profoundly encouraging. People don't stop working completely. They don't become lazy. They don't become idle. They don't stop contributing. They work less. They reduce hours. They have more time. They choose work that matters to them. Not just any work, but work that aligns with their values, their interests, their passions. They pursue passions. Their loves, their joys, their interests. They start projects, creative projects, business projects, community projects. They contribute to their communities, volunteering, helping, supporting. They live more meaningful lives. Not just surviving, but thriving. Not just existing, but living. Fully, beautifully, meaningfully. These results show something important. That when people have basic security, they don't become lazy. They become more active, more creative, more engaged. They pursue what matters to them. They contribute in their own ways. They find meaning beyond work. They live more fully, more authentically, more meaningfully. This is what universal basic income enables, not idleness, but freedom, not laziness, but choice, not meaninglessness, but meaning, authentic meaning, personal meaning, meaningful meaning. But here's the key question: where does the money come from? If robots are doing all the work, how do we pay for universal basic income? The answer is simple. In principle, the robots are creating value, enormous value. They're producing goods, everything we need: food, clothing, housing, everything. They're providing services, healthcare, education, transportation, everything. This value can be taxed, the production can be taxed, the services can be taxed. The value can be collected, then distributed to everyone, fairly, equally. Or the robots can be owned collectively, not by individuals, not by corporations, but by everyone, by society, by the community. The robots would be public property. Their production would benefit everyone. Their value would be shared equally, fairly. Or the resources can be distributed differently. The means of production, the robots, the factories, everything could be owned collectively, could be managed democratically, could be used for everyone's benefit, not for profit, but for people, not for accumulation, but for distribution, not for few, but for all. There are many ways to organize it, many models, many possibilities. The key is understanding that if robots create abundance, we can distribute it, not accumulate it, not hoard it, but distribute it, fairly, equally, to everyone. We can ensure everyone benefits, not just some, but everyone. Not just the owners, but everyone. Not just the privileged, but everyone. We can ensure everyone has enough food, shelter, healthcare, education, everything, always. Not sometimes, but always. We can move beyond scarcity, the idea that there's not enough, that we must compete, that we must accumulate. Beyond competition, the idea that we must compete for resources, for opportunities, for survival. Beyond inequality, the idea that some deserve more, that some deserve less, that fairness is impossible. To abundance, enough for everyone, always. To sharing, distributing, ensuring everyone has enough. To fairness, equal access, equal opportunity, equal value. To justice, fair distribution, fair treatment, fair opportunity. For everyone, everywhere, always. This shift would be profound, from scarcity to abundance, from competition to cooperation, from inequality to fairness, from accumulation to distribution, from few benefiting to everyone benefiting. This shift would transform society, making it fairer, more just, more connected, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. The key is understanding that if robots do all the work, there's abundance, there's enough for everyone. The challenge isn't creating enough. The challenge is distributing it fairly, ensuring everyone benefits, ensuring everyone has enough. This is called post-scarcity economics, a new way of thinking about economics, about resources, about distribution. The idea that we can move beyond scarcity, the fundamental assumption that there's not enough, that we must compete, that we must accumulate, beyond the need to compete for resources, the idea that resources are limited, that we must fight for them, that only some can have enough. beyond the need to work to survive. The idea that we must work, to earn, to produce, to survive. If robots produce everything we need, we can distribute it, not accumulate it, not hoard it, but distribute it, fairly, equally, to everyone. We can ensure everyone has enough food, shelter, healthcare, education, everything. Always. Not sometimes, but always. We can move to abundance. Enough for everyone. Always. Not scarcity, but abundance. Not competition, but cooperation. Not inequality, but fairness. Not accumulation, but distribution. Not few benefiting, but everyone benefiting. Post-scarcity economics would transform how we think about value, about contribution, about distribution, about fairness, about justice. It would allow us to focus not on survival, but on thriving, not on accumulation, but on distribution, not on competition, but on cooperation, not on inequality, but on fairness. It would allow us to create a fairer world, a more just world, a more connected world, a more human world, a more meaningful world, a more beautiful world. This might sound impossible, but think about it. If robots can do everything, they can produce everything. Food, housing, healthcare, education, entertainment, everything. The cost of production drops to almost nothing. The challenge becomes distribution, not production. Of course there are challenges, many challenges. Who owns the robots? Individuals, corporations, the government. Everyone. This matters deeply. Ownership determines control. Control determines benefit. If few own the robots, few benefit. If many own the robots, many benefit. If everyone owns the robots, everyone benefits. Who controls the resources? Who decides what to produce? Who decides how to distribute? Who has power? These questions matter. They determine fairness. They determine justice. They determine who benefits. They determine who matters. How do we ensure fair distribution? How do we prevent some from getting more? How do we ensure everyone has enough? How do we prevent inequality? These are crucial questions. They require systems. They require safeguards. They require commitment to fairness, to justice, to everyone mattering. How do we prevent power from concentrating in few hands? How do we ensure democracy? How do we ensure participation? How do we ensure everyone has a voice? These are fundamental questions. They require structures. They require processes. They require values that value everyone, that include everyone, that empower everyone. These are important questions. Questions we'll need to answer thoughtfully, carefully, with wisdom, with compassion. Questions we'll need to solve with systems, with structures, with commitment to fairness, to justice, to everyone mattering, to everyone benefiting, to everyone thriving. But the possibility exists. The real possibility. The genuine possibility. The possibility of abundance. Enough for everyone, always. Not scarcity, but abundance. The possibility of everyone having enough. Food, shelter, healthcare, education, everything, always. Not some, but everyone. Not sometimes, but always. The possibility of moving beyond scarcity. The idea that there's not enough, that we must compete, that we must accumulate, beyond the need to work to survive. The idea that we must work, to earn, to produce, to survive. The possibility of freedom. From work. From survival pressure. From scarcity. The possibility of focusing on thriving, on becoming, on contributing, on being, on living, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. This possibility is worth exploring, worth imagining, worth planning for, worth creating, because it could transform society, humanity, life itself. It could create something better, something fairer, something more just, something more connected, something more human, something more meaningful, something more beautiful. This possibility is worth pursuing, with care, with intention, with commitment, to fairness, to justice, to everyone mattering, to everyone thriving. The transition wouldn't be easy. It would require careful planning. It would require new systems, new ways of organizing society, new ways of thinking about economics. But it's possible, it's imaginable, it's worth exploring. During the transition, some people would lose jobs, their income would disappear, their identity would be challenged, their sense of purpose would be questioned, some would struggle, financially, emotionally, psychologically. They would need help, support, guidance. Some would need support, financial support, to survive, to adapt, emotional support, to cope, to adjust, social support, to connect, to belong. This is why careful planning matters. We can't just let it happen. We need to plan, to prepare, to support. This is why we need to think ahead, to anticipate challenges, to design solutions, to create systems. This is why we need to prepare, to build support structures, to create transition programs, to ensure no one is left behind, to ensure everyone can adapt, to ensure everyone can thrive. The transition period would be critical. It would determine whether automation benefits everyone, or just a few. It would determine whether the future is fair or unequal. It would determine whether transformation is peaceful or disruptive. Careful planning, thoughtful design, compassionate support, these would be essential to ensure the transition is beneficial for everyone. Not just some, but everyone. But if we plan carefully, thinking through challenges, anticipating problems, designing solutions, creating systems, if we organize thoughtfully, considering everyone, including everyone, valuing everyone, ensuring fairness, ensuring justice, if we distribute resources fairly, not accumulating, not hoarding, but sharing, ensuring everyone has enough, always, not sometimes, but always, the transition could be peaceful, not disruptive, not chaotic, but peaceful, gradual, manageable, beautiful. It could be gradual, giving time for adaptation, for understanding, for preparation. It could lead to something wonderful, truly wonderful, a world where everyone has enough food, shelter, healthcare, education, everything, always. A world where work is optional, not required, not necessary, but optional. A choice, a freedom, a possibility. A world where people are free to pursue what matters to them, their passions, their interests, their values, their truth, their meaning, their purpose, their joy. This is possible, not guaranteed, but possible, with care, with intention, with commitment, to fairness, to justice, to everyone mattering, to everyone thriving. The future could be wonderful if we create it thoughtfully, if we design it carefully, if we build it together, with care, with compassion, with commitment, to everyone, to fairness, to justice, to possibility, to wonder. The economic revolution wouldn't just change how we work, It would change how we think about value, how we think about contribution, how we think about what matters. If work is optional, what gives life meaning? What makes life valuable? What makes us human? These are questions we'll explore as we continue, but always remember, economics is about resources, about distribution, about how we organize ourselves. And if robots create abundance, we can organize differently, we can distribute fairly, we can ensure everyone has enough. The journey from scarcity to abundance is a long one. It might never fully happen, or it might happen faster than we expect, but the exploration itself is valuable. The imagining is peaceful. The wonder of possibility is enough. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that economics is about people, about survival, about dignity. And if robots create abundance, we can ensure everyone has both. We can ensure everyone survives. We can ensure everyone has dignity. We can ensure everyone has enough. To understand this fully, we need to explore what daily life would actually look like. How would people spend their days? What would a typical day be like? And that brings us to a day in the life. Chapter 3: A Day in the Life. What would daily life actually look like? Imagine waking up in a world where robots do all the work. What would your day look like? How would you spend your time? What would be different? What would be the same? Let's walk through a day, slowly, peacefully, imagining what it might be like. You wake up in the morning, the sun is rising, your room is comfortable. The temperature is perfect. Robots have been monitoring it all night, adjusting it to your preferences, ensuring you sleep well. You get out of bed, you stretch, you breathe. You don't need to rush. There's no job to get to, no deadline to meet, no pressure, just time. Time to wake up slowly. Time to be present. Time to enjoy the morning. You walk to the kitchen. The floor is clean, the counters are spotless, everything is organized. Breakfast is ready, waiting for you. Robots have prepared it. Overnight. While you slept, they monitored your health. They checked your nutritional needs. They considered your preferences. They prepared exactly what you need, what you want, what's good for you. The meal is healthy, perfectly balanced, all the nutrients you need, but it's also delicious, tasty, enjoyable. Robots can cook. They can follow recipes perfectly. They can adjust flavors. They can create new combinations. They can make food that's both healthy and delicious. Exactly what you want. Exactly when you want it. You eat slowly, not rushed, not hurried, but slowly, mindfully. You savor each bite, tasting, appreciating, enjoying the flavors, the textures, the experience. You don't need to rush, no deadline, no appointment, no pressure, just time. Time to enjoy your food, to taste it, to appreciate it, to be present with it. Time to think about your day, about possibilities, about life, about being. Time to be, just be, present, aware, alive, in the moment. Fully, completely, beautifully. Breakfast becomes a ritual, not a task, but a ritual, a moment of peace, of presence, of being. You notice things, the taste of the food, the warmth of the drink, the light through the window, the sounds around you, everything. You're present, fully present, in the moment, at peace, content, grateful, for the food, for the time, for the peace, for the moment, for being alive, for being present, for being. After breakfast you decide what to do. The day stretches before you, full of possibility, full of choice. You could go for a walk, in nature, through the neighborhood, anywhere. You could read a book, fiction, non-fiction, poetry, anything. You could learn something new, a skill, a subject, a language, anything. You could create something. Art, music, writing, anything. You could spend time with friends, talking, laughing, connecting. You could volunteer, helping others, contributing, making a difference. You could explore the world, yourself, possibilities, anything. The choice is yours, completely yours, not determined by work, not constrained by obligations, but yours, to choose, to decide, to create your day, your life, your meaning, your purpose. This freedom is profound, not having to work, not having to earn, not having to produce, but being free to choose, to explore, to create, to connect, to be. This freedom allows authenticity, to pursue what matters to you, not what others expect, not what society values, but what matters to you, personally, authentically, deeply. This freedom allows meaning, to find purpose, in what you choose, in what you pursue, in what brings you joy, in what gives you meaning. Let's say you decide to learn something. You've always been curious about astronomy. You want to understand the stars. So you sit down, you open your learning device. An AI tutor appears. It knows your learning style, it knows your pace, it knows what interests you. The tutor explains astronomy. It starts with the basics, the sun, the planets, the stars, but it adapts to you. It sees what interests you. It goes deeper into those areas. It shows you images, beautiful images, of nebulas, of galaxies, of planets. It answers your questions, immediately, thoroughly, patiently. It never gets tired. It never gets frustrated. It just teaches, adapts, helps you learn. It makes learning enjoyable, fascinating, engaging. It uses games, visualizations, stories, whatever works for you. It knows your learning style, visual. It shows you images, auditory. It explains clearly, kinesthetic. It gives you activities. It adapts. It personalizes. It makes learning perfect for you. You're not learning for a test. You're not learning for a job. You're learning because you're curious, because you want to know, because it brings you joy, because understanding the universe is fascinating, because knowledge is beautiful, because learning is fulfilling. After a few hours, you take a break, you go outside. You walk through your neighborhood. It's peaceful, green, beautiful. Robots maintain the gardens. They keep everything clean. They ensure the environment is healthy, pleasant, enjoyable. You see other people, walking, talking, laughing. They're also free, free from work, free from obligations, free to be. They're also exploring the world, themselves, possibilities. They're also pursuing what interests them, what brings them joy, what gives them meaning. Some are gardening, tending plants, growing food, creating beauty. Some are creating art, painting, sculpting, expressing themselves. Some are playing music, instruments, songs, creating sound. Some are exercising, running, yoga, movement, health. Some are just sitting on benches, in parks, enjoying the day, being present, fully present, in the moment, at peace. The neighborhood is alive, with people, with activity, with life. But it's peaceful, unhurried. There's no rush, no pressure, just people. Being, living, exploring, creating, connecting. The pace is slower, more deliberate, more present. People have time to notice, to appreciate, to be. The atmosphere is calm, peaceful, joyful. People are happy, content, fulfilled. They're living. Really living. Not just surviving, not just working, but living, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. You stop and talk with a neighbor, you discuss what you're learning. You share ideas, you connect. There's no rush, no pressure, just conversation, just connection, just being together. Later, you decide to create something. You've been learning to paint. Slowly, patiently, enjoying the process. You set up your easel. In a room, with good light, with space to move, with peace to create. You choose your colors. Carefully, thoughtfully. Feeling what you want to express, you start painting. Brush strokes, colors blending, forms emerging. You're not trying to sell it. Not trying to make money. Not trying to impress anyone. You're just creating. For yourself. For expression. For joy. Expressing yourself. Your thoughts, your feelings, your vision, your truth. Enjoying the process, the creation, the expression, the being. Time passes, but you don't notice. You're absorbed in creation, in expression, in being. The painting takes shape, colors, forms, meaning. It's not perfect, but it's yours. It's authentic. It's expression. It's creation. And that's enough. More than enough. It's beautiful. Because it's real. Because it's yours. Because it's expression. Because it's creation. This is what creation would be like. Not for money, not for approval, but for expression, for joy, for being. Everyone could create. Everyone could express. Everyone could share. Art would be everywhere. Not just in galleries, but in homes, in communities, everywhere. Created by everyone. Expressed by everyone. Shared by everyone. Art would be a way of being. A way of expressing, a way of connecting, a way of being human. Robots handle everything else, seamlessly, invisibly. They're cooking lunch, preparing it, based on your preferences, your nutritional needs, your health goals. They're cleaning the house, maintaining order, keeping everything clean. Organized, beautiful. They're maintaining everything, the systems, the infrastructure, the environment, everything. You don't need to think about it, to plan it, to manage it. You don't need to worry about it, to stress about it, to be responsible for it. It just happens, peacefully, automatically, reliably, consistently, beautifully. This frees your mind from worry, from responsibility, from management. It frees your time from tasks, from chores, from maintenance. It frees your energy from survival, from maintenance, from worry. It frees you to focus on what matters to you, to your meaning, to your purpose, to your joy, to your being, to your life, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. The infrastructure of life is handled by robots, by automation, by systems. This allows you to focus on living, not on surviving, not on maintaining, but on living, on being, on creating, on connecting, on exploring, on becoming, on thriving, on flourishing, on being fully human, authentically, beautifully, meaningfully. After lunch you might exercise, or meditate, or read, or spend time with family, or volunteer, or explore something new. The day is yours, completely yours. to fill however you want. In the evening you might gather with friends, or family, or your community. You might share a meal, you might have conversations. You might play games, you might create together, you might just be together, enjoying each other's company. There's no rush, no hurry, no urgency, no pressure. No deadlines, no obligations, no need to be anywhere else, no next thing, no next task, no next responsibility, just time, real time, unhurried time, quality time. Time to connect. Deeply, meaningfully, authentically. Time to be present, fully present, in the moment, with each other. Time to enjoy each other, to appreciate each other, to understand each other, to love each other, to be together, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. Evenings become sacred, not rushed, not divided, but sacred. Time for connection, for presence, for being together, for enjoying each other, for appreciating life, for being grateful, for being present, for being alive, for being human. Together, connected, present, grateful, peaceful, content, fulfilled. This is what relationships could be like, when freed from work, when freed from rush, when freed from pressure, deep, meaningful, authentic, present, connected, beautiful, fulfilling. This is what connection could be, when there's time, when there's presence, when there's attention, deep, real, authentic, beautiful, meaningful. At night you might reflect on your day, slowly, peacefully. What did you learn about astronomy? About the universe? About yourself? What did you create? A painting? An expression? Something beautiful? Who did you connect with? Neighbors? Friends? Community? What brought you joy? Learning? Creating? Connecting? Being present? Being alive? You might feel grateful for the time, for the freedom, for the possibilities, for the connections, for the ability to learn, to create, to connect, to be. You might feel peaceful, calm, at ease, not rushed, not stressed, not worried, just peaceful, present, content. You might feel content, satisfied, fulfilled. Not because you accomplished tasks, but because you lived, because you learned, because you created, because you connected, because you were present, because you were alive. You might feel like you're living, really living, not just surviving, getting by, making it through, not just working, earning, producing, but living, fully, beautifully, meaningfully, experiencing, learning, creating, connecting, being, present, alive, human, fully human, authentically human, beautifully human. This is what daily life could be like, not rushed, no hurry, no urgency, no pressure, not stressed, no anxiety, no worry, no tension, not divided, between work and life, between obligation and desire, between survival and thriving, but peaceful, calm, serene, tranquil, unhurried, taking time, being present, enjoying moments, integrated, whole, complete, unified, meaningful, full of meaning, purposeful, significant, fulfilling, satisfying, complete, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, emotionally satisfying, spiritually fulfilling. This is what life could be, when freed from work, from survival pressure, from obligation, when freed to be, to exist fully, when freed to live. Not just survive, but live, fully, beautifully, meaningfully, authentically, completely, wonderfully. This vision is compelling. It shows us possibility. It shows us what could be. It shows us what we could create, together, collectively, beautifully. It shows us that life could be different, better, more peaceful, more meaningful, more fulfilling, more beautiful. It shows us that we could be different, more present, more authentic, more connected, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. This vision is worth pursuing. With care, with intention, with commitment. To everyone. To fairness. To justice. To possibility. To wonder. To being fully human. Authentically. Beautifully. Meaningfully. This is what daily life might be like. Peaceful, unhurried, filled with choice, filled with possibility, filled with meaning. But it's not all perfect. There would be challenges. What if you get bored? What if you don't know what to do? What if you feel lost? What if you miss having a purpose? What if you feel like you're not contributing? These are real challenges. Challenges we'll explore, but for now, imagine the possibilities. Imagine having time. Time to learn, time to create, time to connect, time to explore, time to be. Healthcare would be different too, completely different. Eye doctors would monitor your health constantly. Through sensors, through wearables, through regular checkups, they would track everything. Your heart rate, your blood pressure, your sleep patterns, your activity levels, your nutrition, everything. They would build a complete picture of your health, of your body, of your needs. They would detect problems early, before symptoms appear, before you even know something's wrong. They would catch diseases in their earliest stages, when they're easiest to treat, when they're most curable. They would prevent problems, not just treat them. They would optimize your health, continuously, proactively, personally. They would suggest treatments, based on your genetics, your history, your body, your preferences. Medicine would be personalized, not one size fits all, but tailored to you. Specifically, optimized for you, your genetics, your body, your needs, your life. Robots would assist with procedures. They would be precise. More precise than human hands. They would work in ways humans can't. They would perform surgeries with perfect accuracy, with minimal invasion, with faster recovery. They would handle routine procedures, freeing human doctors for complex cases, for human connection, for care that requires empathy, for the parts of medicine that are truly human. Education would be different, fundamentally different. Learning would be lifelong. Not something you do for a few years, then stop, but something you do always, throughout your life. Because you want to, because you're curious, because there's always more to learn, more to understand, more to explore. It would be personalized, completely personalized. AI tutors would know you, your learning style, your pace, your interests, your goals. They would adapt to you. Specifically, they would create learning paths just for you. They would explain things in ways you understand. They would challenge you at the right level, not too easy, not too hard, just right for you. It would be enjoyable. Learning would be fun, engaging, fascinating, not a chore, not a requirement, but a joy, a pleasure, an adventure. You would learn because you want to, because it brings you joy, because understanding is beautiful, because knowledge is fulfilling. You could learn anything, absolutely anything: physics, art, history, music, languages, cooking, gardening. Anything, at any time, day or night, morning or evening, whenever you want, at your own pace, fast or slow, however works for you, for your own reasons. Not for a job. Not for a degree. Not for anyone else. Just because you're curious. Because you want to know. Because learning is its own reward. Transportation would be different. Completely transformed. Self-driving vehicles would be everywhere. They would take you anywhere. Safely. More safely than human drivers. They don't get distracted. They don't get tired. They don't make mistakes. They're always alert, always careful, always safe. They would be efficient. They would optimize routes. They would coordinate with each other. They would reduce traffic. They would save energy. They would be environmentally friendly. Electric, clean, sustainable. They would be comfortable, designed for relaxation, for work, for entertainment. You could read, you could sleep, you could watch movies, you could have conversations. You wouldn't need to focus on driving. You could focus on other things, on being present, on enjoying the journey. You wouldn't need to own a car. You wouldn't need to maintain it. You wouldn't need to park it. You would just call one. When you need it, it would arrive. Take you where you want to go. Then leave. Simple. Easy. Convenient. You wouldn't need to drive. You wouldn't need a license. You wouldn't need to learn. You could just go. Wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want. The freedom to travel. Without the burden of driving. Without the stress of traffic. Without the worry of accidents. Just freedom. Just movement. Just exploration. Food would be different. Completely transformed. Automated farms would produce everything. Vegetables, fruits, grains, everything. They would grow food perfectly. In optimal conditions. With perfect nutrition. With perfect timing. They would harvest. At the perfect moment. When everything is at its peak. When flavor is best. When nutrition is highest. They would be efficient. Using less water, less land, less energy. Producing more food, better food, more nutritious food. They would be sustainable. Not depleting soil, not harming the environment, but working with nature, enhancing it, supporting it, creating abundance. While protecting the planet, robot chefs would prepare meals. In your home, in restaurants, everywhere. They would cook exactly how you like them, your preferences, your dietary needs, your health goals. They would create recipes, new combinations, new flavors. They would make food healthy, delicious, perfect, every time, consistently, reliably, beautifully. Food would be abundant. There would be enough for everyone, always. No scarcity, no hunger, no malnutrition, just abundance, just nutrition, just delicious food. For everyone, everywhere, always. Entertainment would be different, vastly different. I would create content, movies, music, books, games, everything, personalized for you. Based on your interests, your mood, your preferences, your history. It would know what you like. It would create new things. Just for you. Things you've never seen. Things you've never imagined. Things that surprise you, delight you, move you. But humans would create too, more than ever, much more. Because they have time. Time to create. Time to express. Time to share. Because they have freedom. Freedom to create. Freedom to experiment. Freedom to explore. Because they want to express themselves, their thoughts, their feelings, their vision, their truth. The arts would explode. Music would be everywhere. Everyone could learn. Everyone could create. Everyone could share. Art would flourish. Paintings, sculptures, digital art, everything. People would express themselves, visually, emotionally, creatively. Writing would flourish. Stories, poetry, essays, everything. People would share their thoughts, their experiences, their imagination. Entertainment would be abundant, diverse, creative, personal. There would be something for everyone, created by everyone, shared by everyone. The arts would be central. Not peripheral, but essential. Not luxury, but fundamental. Not for the few, but for everyone. Everything would be different, but also the same. Humans would still need connection. They would still need purpose. They would still need meaning. They would still need to contribute, to feel useful, to feel valued. The difference is choice, real choice, authentic choice. Not constrained by survival, not limited by necessity, but free, to choose, to decide, to pursue. What matters to you? Freedom. From work, from survival pressure, from obligations, from constraints. Freedom to be, to explore, to create, to connect, to become, to thrive. Time. Real time, unhurried time, quality time. Not rushed, not divided, but present, fully present. The ability to pursue what matters to you, your passions, your interests, your values, your truth. Not because you have to, not because you must, not because survival requires it, but because you want to, because it matters to you, because it brings you joy, because it gives your life meaning, because it makes you feel alive, because it makes you feel human, because it makes you feel fulfilled. This difference is profound. It transforms life. From survival to thriving, from obligation to choice, from necessity to possibility, from constraint to freedom, from rush to presence, from divided to whole, from surviving to living, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. This difference allows authenticity, to be who you are, to pursue what matters to you, to create what you want, to connect authentically, to contribute meaningfully, to live fully. This difference allows meaning, to find purpose, in what you choose, in what you pursue, in what brings you joy, in what gives you meaning. This difference is everything. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, between existing and living, between getting by and flourishing, between constraint and freedom, between obligation and choice, between necessity and possibility, between rush and presence, between divided and whole, between surviving and living, fully, beautifully, meaningfully. A day in a post-work world would be peaceful, unhurried, filled with possibility. But it would also require something from us. It would require us to find meaning, to find purpose, to find what matters, to find who we are. This is the challenge, but also the opportunity to become who we're meant to be, to live fully, to explore, to create, to connect, to be. The journey from work-filled days to days of freedom is a long one. It might never fully happen, or it might happen faster than we expect. But the exploration itself is valuable. The imagining is peaceful. The wonder of possibility is enough. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that daily life is about more than survival. It's about living, about meaning, about purpose. And if robots handle survival, we can focus on living, we can focus on meaning, we can focus on purpose, we can focus on what makes us human. To understand this fully, we need to explore the psychology of purpose, what gives life meaning, what makes us feel valuable, what makes us human. And that brings us to the psychology of purpose. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Purpose. Who are we without work? If robots did all the work, who would we be? How would we define ourselves? What would give our lives meaning? These are psychological questions. Questions about identity, about purpose, about what makes us human. In our current world, work is central to identity. When we meet someone new, we often ask, "What do you do?" We mean, "What is your job?" We define ourselves by our work. We find meaning in our work. We feel valuable because of our work. But what if work disappeared? What if robots did everything? What if there were no jobs? How would we define ourselves then? What would give our lives meaning? What would make us feel valuable? This is a profound question. It touches on something deep, something fundamental, the human need for purpose, the human need to matter, the human need to contribute. Psychologists have studied this. They've explored what gives life meaning, what makes people feel fulfilled, what makes people happy. And they found something interesting. Work is important. But it's not everything. There are other sources of meaning, other ways to find purpose, other ways to contribute. Think about people who retire. They stop working. After decades of work, after a lifetime of jobs. But they don't stop living. They don't disappear. They don't become meaningless. They find new purposes. They pursue hobbies they never had time for. They spend time with family, deeply, meaningfully. They volunteer, helping others, contributing to causes they care about. They learn, taking classes, exploring new interests. They create art, music, writing, gardening, building. They contribute in different ways, ways that matter to them, ways that give them meaning. They find meaning beyond work. They find purpose in other things, in connection, in contribution, in creation, in exploration. Retirement shows us something important. Work isn't the only source of meaning, it's one source. But there are others, many others. And when work ends, meaning doesn't end. It transforms, it evolves, it finds new forms, new expressions, new purposes. Think about people who have never worked in traditional ways. Artists, musicians, writers, poets, dancers. They create, they express themselves, they contribute to culture, to beauty, to understanding. They find meaning, deep meaning, profound meaning, not through jobs, not through employment, but through creation, through expression, through contribution, through art, through beauty, through truth. These people show us something important. Meaning doesn't require a job. It requires creation. It requires expression. It requires contribution. It requires doing something that matters to you, to others, to the world. Work is one way to do this, but not the only way, not even the best way, just one way. Think about people throughout history. Before modern work, people found meaning in other ways. In family, deep connections, raising children, supporting each other. In community, being part of something larger, contributing to the group. In religion, understanding the divine, finding spiritual meaning. In creation, making things, building things, creating things. In connection with nature, with each other, with the world. In contribution to their tribe, to their people, to their world. In roles, in responsibilities, in being needed, in mattering. For most of human history, work wasn't separate from life, it was part of life, integrated, natural, meaningful. People worked to survive. But work was also connection, also contribution, also meaning. It wasn't a job, it was a way of being, a way of living, a way of contributing to your people, to your world. Modern work is different. It's separate, it's a job, it's employment, it's something you do, not something you are. This is relatively new, a few hundred years. A blink in human history. Before that, meaning came from other places. From connection, from contribution, from being part of something larger. These sources of meaning still exist, they're still available, they're still powerful, they're still meaningful. Work as we know it is relatively new. For most of human history, people didn't have jobs. They had roles, they had responsibilities, they contributed to their communities. But they didn't work for wages. They didn't define themselves by their jobs. This changed with the Industrial Revolution, with the rise of factories, with the rise of cities. Work became central. Jobs became identity, but this is a recent development, a few hundred years, a blink in human history. So the question isn't whether humans can find meaning without work. The question is how. What would give life meaning in a post-work world? What would make people feel valuable? What would make people feel like they matter? Psychologists have identified several sources of meaning: connection, contribution, growth, purpose. These don't require work, they require other things. Things that might be easier to find in a post-work world. Connection means relationships, family, friends, community, feeling connected to others, feeling loved, feeling understood, feeling part of something larger. This doesn't require work, it requires time, attention, presence. And in a post-work world there would be more time, more attention, more presence. Contribution means making a difference, helping others, creating something, improving something, contributing to your community, to your world. This doesn't require a job, it requires intention, it requires action, it requires caring. And in a post-work world, there would be more opportunity, more freedom, more choice. Growth means learning, developing, becoming better, expanding your understanding, your skills, your perspective. This doesn't require work. It requires curiosity, it requires effort, it requires time. And in a post-work world, there would be more time, more resources, more opportunity. Purpose means having a reason, a direction, something that matters to you, something you're working toward. This doesn't require a job, it requires knowing yourself. It requires choosing what matters, it requires pursuing it. In a post-work world, people might find meaning in many ways, countless ways, infinite ways. They might pursue passions, their interests, their loves, their joys. They might create art, expressing themselves, creating beauty, sharing truth. They might learn endlessly, exploring knowledge, understanding deeply, growing continuously. They might help others, volunteering, supporting, contributing. They might build communities, creating connection, building belonging, fostering care. They might explore the world, themselves, possibilities. They might connect deeply with others, with nature, with themselves. They might contribute in ways that matter to them, personally, authentically, meaningfully. Meaning would be diverse, not one way, but many ways, not one path, but many paths, not one purpose, but many purposes. Each person would find their own, their unique way, their authentic path, their personal purpose, their individual meaning, based on who they are, on what matters to them, on what brings them joy, on what gives them meaning. This diversity would be beautiful, not uniformity, but diversity, not sameness, but uniqueness, not one way, but many ways, each person contributing in their own way, based on who they are, on what matters to them, on what gives them meaning. This diversity would enrich society, making it richer, more interesting, more beautiful, more meaningful, more human. But there would be challenges. Some people might struggle, they might feel lost. They might feel purposeless, they might feel like they don't matter. This is a real risk, a real challenge, one we would need to address. But there are also opportunities. Opportunities to find deeper meaning, more authentic purpose, more genuine contribution. Not because you have to, but because you want to, because it matters to you, because it gives your life meaning. Maslow's hierarchy of needs helps us understand this. It's a pyramid, a structure of human needs. At the bottom are basic needs, physiological needs: food, water, shelter, sleep. The essentials, the foundation. If robots provide these, we don't need to worry, we don't need to struggle. We don't need to focus on survival, we can move up to safety needs, security, stability, protection. If robots provide these too, we can move higher to belonging needs, love, connection, community, relationships. We can focus on these deeply, meaningfully, without distraction, without worry, without survival pressure. Then esteem needs: respect, recognition, achievement, feeling valued, feeling capable, feeling worthy. We can pursue these through contribution, through creation, through connection, through being who we are, through expressing ourselves, through contributing meaningfully. Then self-actualization, the top, becoming who we're meant to be. Our best selves, our fullest selves, our most authentic selves. We can focus on this completely, fully, without limits, without constraints, without survival pressure. We can focus on becoming who we're meant to be, on living fully, on contributing meaningfully, on expressing ourselves, on creating, on connecting, on being fully, beautifully, meaningfully. If robots handle survival, we can focus on thriving, on becoming, on being, on living fully, on contributing meaningfully, on expressing ourselves, on connecting deeply, on creating beautifully, on being human, fully, authentically, beautifully. This doesn't mean it would be easy. Finding purpose without work would require effort, real effort. It wouldn't just happen. It would require exploration, experimentation, discovery. It would require self-awareness, knowing yourself, understanding yourself. What matters to you? What brings you joy? What gives you meaning? It would require intention, choosing, deciding, committing to what matters, to what brings meaning, to what gives purpose. It would require choosing what matters, not what others expect, not what society values, but what matters to you, personally, authentically, deeply. But it would be possible, more than possible. It would be likely. Because when survival is handled, purpose can emerge, naturally, authentically, from within, from who you are, from what matters to you, from what brings you joy, from what gives you meaning. It might even be more meaningful, more authentic, more fulfilling, because it would come from within, from you. Not from external expectations, not from societal pressures, but from you, your values, your interests, your passions, your truth. It would be authentic, real, true, to who you are, to what matters to you, to what gives your life meaning. It would be more fulfilling, because it would be yours, chosen by you, pursued by you, valued by you. It would align with who you are, with what matters to you, with what brings you joy, with what gives you meaning. It would be fulfilling, deeply, authentically, beautifully. The psychology of purpose is complex, deeply complex, profoundly complex. It's personal, unique to each person, individual to each soul. It's individual, not universal, not one size fits all, but individual, personal, unique. What gives one person meaning might not give another person meaning. What fulfills one might not fulfill another. What matters to one might not matter to another. This diversity is beautiful. It shows human variety. It shows human uniqueness. It shows human complexity. But the possibility exists. The real possibility. The genuine possibility. The possibility of finding purpose beyond work. Not in work, but beyond it. Not through jobs, but through other things. The possibility of defining ourselves differently, not by what we do, but by who we are, not by our jobs, but by our values, not by our employment, but by our essence. The possibility of becoming who we're meant to be, our best selves, our fullest selves, our most authentic selves, our most human selves, our most meaningful selves, our most beautiful selves. This possibility is worth exploring, worth pursuing, worth creating, because it could transform how we see ourselves, how we live, how we contribute, how we connect, how we become, how we thrive, how we flourish, how we are human, fully, authentically, beautifully, meaningfully. The journey from work-based identity to purpose-based identity is a long one, very long, generations long, centuries long. It might never fully happen. It might remain partial, it might transform differently than we imagine, or it might happen faster than we expect. Technology accelerates, change accelerates, transformation accelerates. But the exploration itself is valuable. The thinking, the imagining, the planning, the wondering. The imagining is peaceful, calming, soothing, reassuring. The wonder of possibility is enough, more than enough. It's beautiful, it's hopeful, it's meaningful, it's human. This journey is worth taking. Even if it's long, even if it's uncertain, even if it's challenging, because it helps us understand ourselves, our needs, our potential, our possibilities. It helps us prepare for change, for transformation, for evolution. It helps us create better systems, better structures, better ways. It helps us become more aware, more thoughtful, more intentional, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. This journey is valuable, not just for the destination, but for the journey itself, for the exploration, for the understanding, for the becoming. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that purpose is about more than work. It's about meaning, about contribution, about connection, about growth. And if robots handle survival, we can focus on these. We can focus on what gives life meaning. We can focus on what makes us human. To understand this fully, we need to explore how society would change, how relationships would change, how communities would organize, how everything would transform. And that brings us to Society Transforms. Chapter 5. Society Transforms. Education, Relationships and Community. If robots did all the work, society would transform. Not just economics, not just jobs, everything: education, relationships, community, how we organize ourselves, how we connect, how we live together. Let's start with education. In our current world, education is often about jobs. We learn to get degrees. We get degrees to get jobs. We get jobs to survive. Education serves work. It prepares us for work. It trains us for work. But what if work disappeared? What if jobs didn't exist? What would education become? What would learning be for? It would become something different, something more fundamental. Learning for its own sake. Learning because we're curious. Learning because we want to understand. Learning because it brings us joy. Learning because it helps us grow. Education would be lifelong, not something you do for a few years, then stop, but something you do always, throughout your life. Because you want to, because you're curious, because there's always more to learn. It would be personalized. Accountants would adapt to you, your learning style, your pace, your interests, your goals. They would help you learn anything, at any time, in any way that works for you. It would be accessible, everyone would have access to everything, to all knowledge, to all learning, no barriers, no costs, no limits, just curiosity, just desire, just the will to learn. It would be collaborative, deeply collaborative. People would learn together, in groups, in communities, in networks. They would share ideas, freely, openly, generously. They would explore together, discovering new things, building understanding, creating knowledge. They would build on each other's knowledge, each person contributing, each person learning, each person growing. They would create together projects, art, knowledge, everything. They would learn from each other, not just from AI, but from humans, from experience, from connection. They would connect through learning, building relationships, building community, building understanding. Together, learning would be social, not isolated, not individual, but shared, collaborative, connected. People would form learning communities, groups of people, exploring together, sharing together, growing together. These communities would be diverse, people of all ages, all backgrounds, all interests, learning from each other, teaching each other, supporting each other, creating together. Education would transform from preparation for work to exploration for its own sake, from training to discovery, from requirement to choice, from necessity to joy. Now let's think about relationships. In our current world, work takes time. It takes energy. It takes attention. There's less time for relationships, less energy for connection, less attention for being present. But what if work disappeared? What if there was more time, more energy, more attention? How would relationships change? They would deepen profoundly. There would be time, real time, unhurried time, time to really know each other, to understand each other, to see each other, to appreciate each other, to really listen, not just hear, but listen, deeply, attentively, compassionately, to really be present, not thinking about work, not worrying about deadlines, but fully present, fully here, fully now, to really connect, not superficially, but deeply, meaningfully, authentically, not rushed, not distracted, not divided, but fully present, fully engaged, fully connected. Relationships would have space, space to breathe, space to grow, space to evolve. They wouldn't be squeezed into small moments, between work, between obligations. But they would have time, real time, quality time, time to be together, time to talk, time to listen, time to understand, time to appreciate, time to love. People would know each other better, really know each other, their thoughts, their feelings, their dreams, their fears, their hopes, their truth. They would understand each other, deeply, compassionately. They would support each other, genuinely, consistently. They would be there for each other, really there, present, available, connected. There would be more time for family, for friends, for community, more time to build relationships, to maintain them, to enjoy them, to be together, not just in passing, but deeply, meaningfully, fully. Relationships would become more important. Without work to define us, relationships would define us more. Connection would matter more. Community would matter more. Being together would matter more. Now let's think about community. In our current world, communities are often organized around work. People live near where they work. They connect through work. They organize around work. But what if work disappeared? How would communities organize? What would bring people together? They would organize around interests, around passions, around values, around connection. People would gather because they want to, because they share interests, because they care about the same things, because they want to be together. Communities would be more intentional, more chosen, more meaningful. People would choose where to live, based on what matters to them, the climate they prefer, the community they want, the environment they love, not on where they work, not on job opportunities, but on who they are, their values, their interests, their preferences, what they care about, the environment, the community, the lifestyle, what brings them joy, peace, connection, beauty, nature, culture, everything. Who to connect with. Based on shared values, shared interests, shared passions. Not on work connections, not on professional networks, but on genuine connection, on authentic relationships, on real friendship, on true community. What to do together, based on shared interests, shared passions, shared values. Not on work projects, not on professional goals, but on what brings joy, on what creates meaning, on what builds connection, on what matters to them, personally, authentically, deeply. Communities would be intentional, chosen, based on connection, on values, on interests, on what matters, not on work, not on jobs, but on who people are, on what they care about, on what brings them joy, on what gives them meaning. Communities would be authentic, real, meaningful, based on genuine connection, on shared values, on mutual care, on authentic belonging. The arts would flourish explosively. With more time, more people would create. Not just professional artists, but everyone. Everyone would have time. Time to explore creativity. Time to express themselves. Time to create. More people would express themselves. Their thoughts, their feelings, their vision, their truth. More people would share their art. Not for money, not for fame, but for expression, for connection, for joy. Music would be everywhere. People would learn instruments. They would compose. They would perform. They would share. Music would fill the air. In homes, in communities, in public spaces. Everywhere, people would sing. They would play. They would create. They would share. Music would be a language, a connection, a joy. Painting would flourish. People would paint, with brushes, with digital tools, with anything. They would express themselves, visually, emotionally, creatively. Art would be everywhere, in homes, in galleries, in public spaces, everywhere. People would create. They would share, they would appreciate. Art would be a way of being, a way of seeing, a way of expressing. Writing would explode. Stories, poetry, essays, everything. People would write their thoughts, their experiences, their imagination. They would share, freely, openly, generously. Writing would be abundant, diverse, creative, personal. Everyone would have a voice. Everyone would have a story. Everyone would share. Dance would flourish. People would move. They would express. They would create. They would share. Dance would be everywhere. In studios, in parks, in homes. Everywhere. People would dance. For joy, for expression, for connection, for being. Everything would flourish. all the arts, all creativity, all expression. The arts would explode, creativity would flourish, expression would be everywhere. Not just for the few, but for everyone. Not just professional, but personal. Not just commercial, but authentic. The arts would be central, essential, fundamental. A way of being human, a way of expressing, a way of connecting. Sports would change. Fundamentally, they would be for joy, pure joy, the joy of movement, the joy of play, the joy of being active. They would be for health, physical health, mental health, emotional health. They would be for connection with your body, with others, with nature, with yourself. Not for competition, not to win, not to beat others, but to challenge yourself, to grow, to improve, to enjoy, not for profit, not for money, not for fame, but for the love of movement, the love of play, the love of being together, the love of being active, the love of being alive. People would play, they would move, they would exercise, not because they have to, but because they want to, because it feels good, because it's fun, because it's healthy, because it's joyful. Sports would be accessible to everyone, at every level, at every age. Everyone could play, everyone could move, everyone could be active. Sports would bring people together, not to compete, but to connect, to play together, to move together, to be together. Sports would be social, collaborative, supportive. They would build community, build connection, build health, build joy. Volunteer work would become more important, much more important. Helping others would be a choice, not a requirement, not an obligation, not something you have to do, but something people choose, freely, authentically, because they want to, because it matters to them, because it gives their life meaning, because helping others is meaningful, because contributing is fulfilling, because connection is beautiful. People would volunteer in many ways, helping the elderly, supporting children, caring for the environment, building community, creating art, teaching, healing. Everything. They would choose based on what matters to them, based on their values, based on their interests, based on what brings them meaning. Volunteer work would be abundant, widespread, common, not exceptional, but normal, not rare, but regular. Everyone would contribute, in their own ways, based on what matters to them, based on who they are, based on what gives them meaning. This would strengthen communities, build connections, create meaning. For individuals, for communities, for society, volunteer work would be central, not peripheral, but essential, not optional, but fundamental. A way of being, a way of being, a way of contributing, a way of connecting, a way of finding meaning. Social structures would change. Without work organizing everything, new structures would emerge. Based on connection, based on contribution, based on what matters, based on who people are, not on what they do for work. There would be challenges, many challenges, real challenges. How do we ensure everyone benefits? Not just some, but everyone. Not just the privileged, but everyone. Not just the lucky, but everyone. How do we distribute resources fairly? How do we ensure access? How do we prevent exclusion? How do we include everyone? These are crucial questions. They require systems. They require commitment. They require values that value everyone, that include everyone, that ensure everyone benefits. How do we prevent inequality? How do we ensure fairness? How do we prevent some from accumulating? How do we prevent power from concentrating? How do we ensure everyone has enough? How do we prevent gaps? How do we maintain balance? These are fundamental questions. They require structures, they require safeguards, they require ongoing attention to fairness, to justice, to equality. How do we maintain social cohesion? How do we keep communities together? How do we prevent fragmentation? How do we build connections? How do we create belonging? How do we ensure everyone feels part of something? These are important questions. They require effort, they require intention, they require structures that bring people together, that create connection, that build community. How do we organize without work as the central structure? Work organizes so much: time, space, relationships, community, identity, purpose. Without work, how do we organize? How do we structure time? How do we create meaning? How do we build identity? How do we find purpose? These are profound questions. They require new structures, new ways of organizing, new ways of being, new ways of connecting, new ways of meaning-making. These challenges are real, but they're also opportunities. Opportunities to create something better, something fairer, something more meaningful, something more connected, something more human. The challenges require thought, they require planning, they require effort, but they're solvable, with care, with intention, with commitment, to fairness, to justice, to everyone mattering, to everyone thriving. These are important questions, questions we would need to answer, questions we would need to solve. But the possibilities exist, the possibilities of deeper connection, of more meaningful communities, of more intentional organization. Society would transform, gradually, peacefully, like the changing of seasons, like the slow growth of a tree. Change would come slowly, carefully, giving us time to adapt, time to plan, time to imagine what comes next. The journey from work-organized society to purpose-organized society is a long one. It might never fully happen, or it might happen faster than we expect. But the exploration itself is valuable, the imagining is peaceful, the wonder of possibility is enough. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that society is about people, about connection, about community. And if work doesn't organize us, we can organize ourselves. Based on what matters, based on who we are, based on what brings us together. To understand this fully, we need to explore the challenges. What could go wrong? What risks exist? What problems would we need to solve? And that brings us to the challenges. Chapter 6. The challenges. What could go wrong? If robots did all the work, there would be challenges, real challenges, serious challenges. Challenges we would need to address, challenges we would need to solve. Let's explore them, honestly, thoughtfully, peacefully, not to discourage, but to prepare, to plan, to ensure we're ready. The first challenge is the transition. How do we get from here to there? How do we move from a work-based economy to a post-work economy? How do we handle the people who lose jobs? How do we support them? How do we help them adapt? This transition would be difficult, very difficult. Some people would struggle. Financially, emotionally, psychologically, they would lose their jobs, their income, their identity, their sense of purpose. Some would lose their jobs before robots fully replace them. In the messy middle, when automation is partial, when some jobs exist but not others, when the economy is changing, when everything is uncertain, some would need support, financial support, emotional support, social support. They would need help navigating the transition, finding new purpose, adapting to change. Some would need retraining, learning new skills, exploring new possibilities, finding new paths. Some would need time to adapt, time to understand, time to adjust, time to find their way, time to discover who they are, beyond work, beyond jobs, beyond employment. The transition would be uneven. Some people would adapt quickly, some would struggle longer, some would find new purpose easily, some would need more help, some would embrace change, some would resist it. The transition would require patience, compassion, support, understanding. It would require systems to help people, to support them, to ensure no one is left behind, to ensure everyone can adapt, to ensure everyone can find their way. We would need systems, comprehensive systems, support systems, financial support, universal basic income, transition payments, retraining programs, emotional support, counseling, community groups, peer networks, transition systems, job placement, skill development, purpose finding, systems to help people, to guide them, to support them, to ensure no one is left behind, to ensure everyone has a path, to ensure everyone can adapt, to ensure everyone can thrive. These systems would need to be thoughtful, well-designed, well-funded, well-supported. They would need to be accessible to everyone, regardless of background, regardless of circumstances. They would need to be compassionate, understanding, patient. They would need to recognize that transition is difficult, that change is hard, that people need support, that adaptation takes time, that everyone's path is different. The second challenge is inequality. Who owns the robots? Who controls the resources? Who benefits from automation? If a few people own everything, inequality could increase. Power could concentrate. Most people could be left out. We would need fair distribution, fair ownership, fair control. We would need to ensure everyone benefits, everyone has enough, everyone has a say, everyone matters. The third challenge is power. If robots do everything, whoever controls the robots has enormous power. They could control resources, they could control people, they could control society. This is dangerous. This is risky. We would need safeguards, limits, checks, balances. We would need to ensure power doesn't concentrate, that it's distributed, that it's controlled, that it serves everyone, not just a few. The fourth challenge is dependency. What if robots break down? What if systems fail? What if we forget how to do things? What if we become too dependent, too reliant, too vulnerable? We would need backup systems, redundancy, resilience. We would need to maintain some knowledge, some skills, some ability to function if systems fail. We would need to be prepared. The fifth challenge is meaning. Perhaps the deepest challenge. Some people might struggle to find purpose. They might feel lost, adrift, without direction. Without purpose, they might feel purposeless, like they don't matter, like they're not contributing, like they're not valuable. They might feel empty, unfulfilled, lost. This is a real risk, a real challenge, a profound challenge. Work provides structure, it provides purpose, it provides identity, it provides meaning. When work disappears, these things disappear too. People would need to find new sources, new structures, new purposes, new identities, new meanings. This wouldn't be easy. It would require effort, it would require self-awareness, it would require exploration, it would require support. Some people would find it easily. They would discover new purposes, new passions, new ways to contribute. Others would struggle. They would need help, guidance, support, community. They would need to explore, to experiment, to discover, to find what matters to them, to find who they are, beyond work, beyond jobs, beyond employment. This challenge would require attention, care, support, Systems to help people find meaning, to help them discover purpose, to help them contribute, to help them matter, to help them find their way. We would need support, guidance, community. We would need to help people find meaning, find purpose, find what matters to them. We would need to ensure everyone has opportunities, everyone has support, everyone can find their way. The sixth challenge is social unrest. Change is difficult. Some people resist it, some people fear it, some people fight it. The transition could cause conflict, it could cause division, it could cause problems. We would need communication, understanding, patience. We would need to help people understand, to help them adapt, to help them see possibilities, not just challenges, but opportunities, not just problems, but solutions. The seventh challenge is environmental impact. Robots need resources, they need energy, they need materials. Production has costs, environmental costs. We would need to ensure automation is sustainable, that it doesn't harm the planet, that it protects the environment. The eighth challenge is control, perhaps the most fundamental challenge. Can we ensure robots serve humans, not themselves, not their owners, but humans, all humans? Can we ensure they don't harm us, intentionally, unintentionally, accidentally? Can we ensure they do what we want, what we need, what's good for us? This is a technical challenge. Programming, design, safety, an ethical challenge, values, priorities, goals, a safety challenge, risk, mitigation, protection. Robots would be powerful, very powerful. They would control resources, they would control production, they would control distribution. Whoever controls the robots controls everything. This is dangerous. This is risky. This requires careful design, careful programming, careful oversight. We would need safeguards, many safeguards, comprehensive safeguards, technical safeguards, in design, in programming, in systems, to ensure robots work correctly, safely, beneficially, ethical safeguards, in values, in priorities, in goals, to ensure robots serve humans, not themselves, not their owners, but humans, all humans. Legal safeguards, in regulation, in oversight, in accountability, to ensure robots are controlled, that they're safe, that they're beneficial, that they serve human interests, that they don't harm, intentionally, unintentionally, accidentally, that they don't control, that they don't dominate, that they don't oppress, that they serve, not dominate, not control, but serve, not oppress, not harm, but help, not control, not dominate, but support. These safeguards would be essential, critical, fundamental. They would determine whether automation benefits humans or harms them, whether robots serve or control, whether the future is human-centered or robot-centered, whether technology enhances humanity or replaces it. These safeguards would require ongoing attention, continuous oversight, regular review, to ensure they work, to ensure they're effective, to ensure they protect, to ensure they serve, to ensure robots enhance human life, not replace it, not control it, but enhance it, support it, serve it. This would require careful design, thoughtful programming, ethical frameworks, safety systems, oversight, regulation, control. We would need to ensure robots enhance human life, not replace it, not control it, but enhance it, support it, serve it. We would need careful design, careful programming, careful oversight. We would need to ensure robots are safe, that they're beneficial, that they serve human interests, not their own, not someone else's, but everyone's. These are real challenges, serious challenges, but they're not insurmountable, they're solvable, with careful planning, with thoughtful design, with collective effort, with patience, with care. The key is preparation, planning ahead, thinking through problems, designing solutions, building safeguards, ensuring we're ready, ensuring we can handle challenges, ensuring we can solve problems. The journey from current challenges to solutions is a long one. It requires effort, it requires thought, it requires care. But it's possible, it's doable. It's worth doing. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that challenges exist, but so do solutions, so do possibilities, so does hope. With careful planning, we can address challenges, we can solve problems, we can create something better. To understand this fully, we need to explore the possibilities. What could we achieve? What could we become? What could humanity accomplish? And that brings us to the possibilities. Chapter 7. The possibilities. What could we achieve? If robots did all the work, what could we achieve? What could humanity become? What could we accomplish when freed from the need to work? The possibilities are vast, beautiful, inspiring. Let's explore them, slowly, peacefully, with wonder, with hope, with imagination. First, scientific breakthroughs. With more time, more people could research, not just professional scientists, but everyone. Everyone with curiosity, everyone with questions, everyone who wants to understand. More people could explore the universe, the earth, life, everything. More people could discover new things, new understanding, new knowledge. Science would accelerate dramatically. Knowledge would grow faster, exponentially. Understanding would deepen profoundly. Imagine millions of people, free to research, free to explore, free to discover, not constrained by funding, not limited by time, not restricted by jobs, but free to follow curiosity, to pursue questions, to explore mysteries, to discover truth. We might solve climate change with collective effort. With unlimited time, with focused attention, we might develop new technologies, clean energy, carbon capture, environmental restoration. We might understand the climate deeply, completely. We might solve the problem, not just manage it, but solve it completely. We might cure diseases, all diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's, everything. With more researchers, with more time, with more resources, we might understand the human body completely. We might understand disease fully. We might develop cures for everything. We might eliminate suffering from disease, from illness, from pain. We might understand the universe deeply, completely. We might answer big questions. How did the universe begin? What is dark matter? What is dark energy? Are we alone? We might unlock mysteries. We might make discoveries we can't even imagine. The possibilities are endless. The potential is vast. The future is open. We might solve climate change. We might cure diseases. We might understand the universe. We might unlock mysteries. We might make discoveries we can't even imagine. The possibilities are endless. Second, space exploration. With more resources, we could explore space, really explore it, deeply, comprehensively. Not just send a few people, but many, thousands, millions. Everyone who wants to go, not just visit briefly, but stay, live there, build there, thrive there. Not just observe, but understand, study, learn, discover. We could become a spacefaring species, living in space, exploring the cosmos, reaching for the stars. We could build space stations, large ones, comfortable ones, beautiful ones. We could live in space, permanently, comfortably, happily. We could explore the solar system, Mars, the moons of Jupiter, the asteroids, everything. We could travel to other stars, to other worlds, to other possibilities. We could search for life on other planets, in other systems, throughout the galaxy. We could understand the universe, its structure, its history, its future. We could become cosmic, not just planetary, but galactic, not just earthbound, but spacefaring, not just local, but universal. Space exploration would accelerate dramatically, with more resources, with more people, with more time. We could explore, really explore, deeply, comprehensively, beautifully. We could become explorers, not just of Earth, but of the cosmos. Not just visitors, but residents. Not just observers, but participants in the cosmic story. Third, solving global problems. With collective effort, we could solve big problems. Really solve them. Not just manage them, not just reduce them, but solve them completely. Climate change. We could reverse it. Restore the planet. Heal the environment. Poverty. We could eliminate it completely. Not just reduce it, but eliminate it. Ensure everyone has enough food, shelter, healthcare, education, everything. Always. Not sometimes, but always. Not for some, but for everyone. We could ensure basic needs for everyone, everywhere, always. We could ensure dignity for everyone, everywhere, always. We could ensure opportunity for everyone, everywhere, always. Poverty could become history, a thing of the past, not a present reality, but a memory of a time when scarcity existed, when inequality was normal, when not everyone had enough. Poverty could end completely, forever. Disease. We could cure everything, all diseases. Cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, everything. We could understand the human body completely. We could understand disease fully. We could develop cures for everything. We could prevent disease through understanding, through technology, through care. We could eliminate suffering from disease, from illness, from pain, from disability. We could ensure health for everyone, everywhere, always. Disease could become rare, manageable, curable, not a constant threat. but something we understand. Something we can treat. Something we can prevent. Disease could become history. A thing we conquered. Not a thing that conquers us. Hunger. We could end it. Completely. Not just reduce it, but end it. Ensure food for everyone. Nutritious food. Delicious food. Abundant food. Always. Not sometimes, but always. Not for some, but for everyone. We could produce enough. For everyone. Everywhere. Always. We could distribute it fairly. To everyone. Everywhere. Always. We could ensure nutrition. For everyone. Everywhere. Always. Hunger could become history. A thing of the past. Not a present reality, but a memory. Of a time when food was scarce. When people went hungry. When nutrition was a privilege. Hunger could end. Completely. Forever. Inequality. We could address it. Completely address it. Not just reduce it, but eliminate it. Ensure fairness. In distribution. In access. In opportunity. Ensure justice. For everyone. Everywhere. Always. Ensure everyone matters. Not just some, but everyone. Not just the privileged, but everyone. Not just the lucky, but everyone. We could ensure equal access. To resources. To education. To healthcare. To opportunity. To everything. We could ensure equal value. Everyone matters. Everyone is valuable. Everyone deserves respect. Everyone deserves dignity. Everyone deserves enough. Inequality could become history. A thing of the past. Not a present reality, but a memory. Of a time when some had more. When some had less. When fairness was rare. Inequality could end. Completely, forever. We could address them, all of them, simultaneously, comprehensively. We could solve them, not partially, but completely. We could create a better world. For everyone. Everywhere. Not just some people, but everyone. Not just some places, but everywhere. A world of abundance. A world of justice. A world of peace. A world of possibility. This would require collective effort, not individual, but collective, not competitive, but collaborative, not divided, but united, working together, for common goals, for shared values, for mutual benefit, for everyone's good. We could solve problems that seem impossible now, that seem intractable, that seem hopeless. We could solve them. With time, with resources, with collective effort, with determination, with hope. We could create something better. Something beautiful, something meaningful, something wonderful. Fourth, art and culture. With more time, more people would create, art would flourish. Culture would explode. Creativity would be everywhere. Expression would be abundant. Beauty would be common. The arts would transform. They would become central. Not peripheral, but essential. Fifth, deep relationships. With more time, relationships would deepen. People would really know each other, really understand each other, really connect. Relationships would be richer, deeper, more meaningful, more fulfilling. Sixth, personal growth. With more freedom, people could grow. They could become who they're meant to be. They could develop fully. They could reach their potential. They could flourish. They could thrive. Seventh, exploring Earth. With more time, people could travel, they could explore, they could see the world, they could experience different cultures, they could understand different perspectives. They could connect globally, they could appreciate diversity. Eighth, learning everything. With unlimited education, people could learn anything. They could become experts, they could understand deeply, they could know broadly, knowledge would be accessible, learning would be endless, understanding would be profound. Ninth, the end of scarcity. With robots producing everything, scarcity could end. There could be enough for everyone, always. Abundance could be normal, not exception, but rule. 10th, human potential unleashed. When freed from survival, humans could focus on thriving, not just surviving, but thriving, not just existing, but flourishing. Not just getting by, but living fully. On becoming who we're meant to be. Our best selves, our fullest selves. On achieving our potential, our dreams, our goals. On contributing to others, to society, to the world, in meaningful ways, in authentic ways, in beautiful ways. Human potential could be unleashed, fully, completely, beautifully, not constrained by survival, not limited by scarcity, not restricted by work, but free, to explore, to create, to contribute, to become, to thrive, to flourish, to be fully human. Every person would have opportunity to develop, to grow, to become, to contribute, to matter, to thrive. Not just some people, but everyone. Not just the privileged, but everyone. Not just the lucky, but everyone. Everyone would have access to education, to resources, to opportunity, to possibility, to potential. Human potential would be unleashed on a scale we can't imagine, with billions of people, free to explore, free to create, free to contribute, free to become. The possibilities are vast, the potential is infinite. The future is open, human potential unleashed, fully, completely, beautifully. These are just possibilities, but they're real possibilities, achievable possibilities. If we plan carefully, if we organize thoughtfully, if we work together, if we imagine boldly. The journey from current limitations to these possibilities is a long one. It might never fully happen. Or it might happen faster than we expect. But the exploration itself is valuable. The imagining is peaceful. The wonder of possibility is enough. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind that possibilities exist, that we could achieve great things, that we could become more, that we could create something wonderful, something beautiful, something meaningful. To understand this fully, we need to explore the long view, the historical perspective, the evolution of humanity, and that brings us to the long view. Chapter 8, The Long View, Humanity's Evolution Beyond Work. To understand what life would be like if robots did all the work, we need the long view. The historical perspective, the understanding that work has changed before, that humanity has adapted before, that transformation is part of our story. Let's look back. Slowly, peacefully, with perspective. For most of human history, people were hunter-gatherers. Hundreds of thousands of years, most of our existence, they hunted animals for food. For survival, they gathered plants, fruits, nuts, everything edible. They moved with the seasons, following food, following water, following life. They followed food where it was, when it was available. They lived in small groups, tribes, communities, families. They worked to survive. But work wasn't separate from life, it was part of life. Integrated, natural, meaningful. Work was survival. But it was also connection, also contribution, also meaning. It was a way of being, a way of living, a way of contributing to your people, to your world. Life was integrated. Work, play, family, community. Everything was connected. Everything was part of life. There was no separation, no division, no compartmentalization, just life. Integrated, whole, meaningful. Then came agriculture, about 10,000 years ago. A revolution. People learned to farm, to grow food, to control nature, to settle down. They settled down, no longer nomadic, but settled. In one place, they built villages, communities, permanent homes. They created civilizations, cities, states, empires. Work changed. From hunting and gathering, to farming, to building, to organizing. Life changed. From nomadic to settled. From small groups to large communities. Society changed. From simple to complex. From egalitarian to hierarchical. But people adapted. They found new meaning. In farming, in building, in community, in civilization, new purpose, in contributing to the group, to the village, to the civilization, new ways to live, settled, organized, complex, but still meaningful, still connected, still contributing. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories appeared, cities grew, work became separate from life. People worked in factories, they lived in cities. Work became a job, a thing you did, not a way you lived. But people adapted, they found meaning, they found purpose, they found ways to thrive. Now we're in the information age. Just beginning, a few decades old. Computers, processing information, storing knowledge, connecting everything, internet, global network, instant communication, unlimited information. AI, artificial intelligence, learning, adapting, improving. Work is changing again, becoming more mental, less physical, more digital, less analog, more automated, less manual. And people are adapting, finding new ways, new skills, new roles, new meanings. In technology, in information, in connection, new purposes, in contributing through knowledge, through information, through connection, through technology. Each age brings change, each transition brings adaptation. Each shift brings new possibilities. And people adapt, they find ways, they discover meanings, they create purposes, they thrive. Through change, through adaptation, through evolution. Each transition brought challenges, real challenges, difficult challenges. The agricultural revolution brought challenges. Settling down, organizing, managing resources. The Industrial Revolution brought challenges, moving to cities, working in factories, adapting to new ways. But also possibilities, new possibilities. The Agricultural Revolution brought possibilities, stability, surplus, civilization. The Industrial Revolution brought possibilities, technology, progress, abundance, Each change was difficult, requiring adaptation, requiring effort, requiring time, but also transformative, changing everything, opening new possibilities, creating new ways. Each shift required adaptation, learning new skills, adjusting to new ways, finding new meanings, but also open new doors, new opportunities, new possibilities, new ways to live, new ways to contribute, new ways to thrive. The pattern is clear. Change brings challenges, but also possibilities, difficulty, but also opportunity, adaptation required, but also new doors opened. This pattern gives us hope that we can adapt, that we can thrive, that we can find new ways, that we can create something better. That transformation is possible, that evolution continues, that we can become more. If robots did all the work, it would be another transition. Like the agricultural revolution, like the industrial revolution. Another major shift. Another fundamental change. Another change in how we work, in how we live, in how we organize. Another transformation of society, of economy, of life itself. But it would follow the same pattern. The pattern of human adaptation. Challenges. Real challenges. Difficult challenges. Economic challenges. Social challenges. Psychological challenges. But also possibilities. New possibilities. Vast possibilities. The possibility of abundance, of freedom, of meaning beyond work. Difficulty. Requiring effort. Requiring adaptation. Requiring time. But also opportunity. The opportunity to create something better, something fairer, something more meaningful. Adaptation required. Learning new ways. Finding new meanings. Creating new structures. But also new doors opened. New opportunities. New possibilities. New ways to live. New ways to contribute, new ways to thrive, new ways to be human, fully, authentically, beautifully. This pattern gives us confidence that we can handle it, that we can adapt, that we can thrive, that we can find new ways, that we can create something better, that transformation is possible, that evolution continues, that we can become more, that the future can be wonderful. If we create it thoughtfully, if we design it carefully, if we build it together, with care, with compassion, with commitment, to everyone, to fairness, to justice, to possibility, to wonder. The long view shows us something important, profoundly important. Humanity adapts. We always have. We always will. We change. Constantly. Continuously. We evolve. Biologically. Culturally. Socially. We find new ways to live, new ways to organize, new ways to contribute. We discover new meanings, new sources of purpose, new ways to matter, new ways to be valuable. We create new purposes, new reasons to be, new ways to contribute, new ways to thrive. We don't just survive change. We don't just endure it. We don't just get through it, we thrive through it. We grow, we learn, we adapt. We become more, we grow from it. Learning, evolving, improving. We become more because of it. More capable, more understanding, more connected, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. This history gives us confidence that we can handle change, that we can adapt, that we can thrive, that we can find new ways, that we can create something better, that transformation is possible, that evolution continues, that we can become more, that the future can be wonderful if we create it thoughtfully, if we design it carefully, if we build it together, with care, with compassion, with commitment, to everyone, to fairness, to justice, to possibility, to wonder, to being fully human, authentically, beautifully, meaningfully. If robots did all the work, humanity would adapt, we would find new meanings, we would discover new purposes, we would create new ways to live, new ways to contribute, new ways to be human. The evolution would be gradual, very gradual, over generations, over centuries, not sudden, not abrupt, but gradual, peaceful, like all evolution. Natural, organic, beautiful, slow, taking time, not rushed, not forced, but slow. Careful, thoughtful, considered, natural, following patterns, following processes, following life itself, giving us time, real time, generations of time, time to adapt, to understand, to prepare, to adjust, time to discover new ways, new meanings, new purposes, new possibilities, time to become who we're meant to be, our best selves, our fullest selves, our most authentic selves, our most human selves. This gradual evolution would be peaceful, not disruptive, not chaotic, but peaceful, like the changing of seasons, like the growth of a tree, like the flow of a river. Natural, beautiful, peaceful. It would allow adaptation, understanding, preparation. It would allow discovery, exploration, creation. It would allow becoming, growth, evolution, transformation. It would be beautiful, peaceful, meaningful, human. The long view also shows us something else. Work isn't everything. It's important, but it's not all there is. There's family, there's community, there's connection, there's creation, there's exploration, there's meaning beyond work, purpose beyond jobs, value beyond employment. If robots did all the work, we could focus on these, on what really matters, on what makes us human, on what gives life meaning, on what makes us thrive. The long view gives us perspective. It shows us that change is normal, that adaptation is natural, that transformation is part of our story, that we can handle it, that we can thrive through it, that we can become more because of it. The journey from work-based humanity to purpose-based humanity is a long one. It might take generations, it might take centuries, but it's possible, it's imaginable, it's part of our evolution, part of our story, part of our becoming. So as we drift deeper into this exploration, keep in mind the long view, the historical perspective, the understanding that we've changed before, that we've adapted before, that we can do it again, that we can evolve, that we can become more, the peaceful acceptance of transformation. Change is constant, but it can be peaceful, it can be gradual, it can be beautiful. The wonder of evolution. We evolve, we adapt, we become, we grow, we change. And it's wonderful, it's fascinating, it's beautiful, the beauty of becoming. We're always becoming, always evolving, always growing, always changing, and it's beautiful, the process, the journey, the becoming. This is the long view, this is the perspective, This is the understanding that we've changed before, that we've adapted before, that we can do it again, that we can evolve, that we can become more, that we can thrive through change, through transformation, through evolution, through becoming. The long view gives us peace, deep peace, profound peace. It shows us that change is normal, not exceptional, not unusual, but normal, constant, continuous, part of life, part of being, part of becoming. That adaptation is natural, not forced, not artificial, but natural, organic, beautiful, part of who we are, part of how we evolve, part of how we grow. That transformation is part of our story, not an exception, but the rule, not a deviation, but the pattern, part of our history, part of our present, part of our future, that we can handle it. We always have, we always will. We're capable, we're resilient, we're adaptable, that we can thrive through it. Not just survive, but thrive. Not just endure, but flourish. Not just get through, but grow. That we can become more because of it. More capable, more understanding, more connected, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. This peace is valuable. It allows us to face change, not with fear, but with confidence, not with anxiety, but with hope, not with resistance, but with openness. It allows us to embrace transformation, not as threat, but as opportunity, not as loss, but as gain, not as ending, but as beginning. It allows us to create the future, not offensively, but creatively, not fearfully, but hopefully, not reactively, but proactively, with care, with intention, with commitment, to everyone, to fairness, to justice, to possibility, to wonder, to being fully human, authentically, beautifully, meaningfully. The long view is calming. It's reassuring, it's hopeful. It shows us that the future is open, that possibilities exist, that we can create something wonderful, something meaningful, something beautiful. Conclusion. We've wandered through a long exploration. We've imagined a world where robots do all the work. We've explored the science, the economics, the psychology, the possibilities, the challenges, the long view. What have we discovered? That automation is already happening, that robots are already transforming work. That change is gradual, peaceful, like the changing of seasons. That economics would need to adapt, that universal basic income is being tested, that post-scarcity is possible, that abundance could be normal, that distribution is the challenge, not production. That daily life would be different, more peaceful, more unhurried, more filled with choice, more filled with possibility, more filled with meaning. That purpose would need to be found beyond work, in connection, in contribution, in growth, in what matters to us, in who we are. That society would transform education, relationships, community, everything, based on what matters, based on who we are, based on what brings us together. That challenges exist, real challenges, serious challenges, but they're solvable, with careful planning, with thoughtful design, with collective effort. That possibilities are vast, scientific breakthroughs, space exploration, solving global problems, art and culture, deep relationships, personal growth, human potential unleashed. That the long view shows us we've adapted before, we've changed before, we've evolved before. We can do it again, we can thrive through change, we can become more. The question of how life would change if robots did all the work touches everything. It touches economics, psychology, society, purpose, meaning, what it means to be human. The exploration itself is valuable, the imagining is peaceful, The wonder of possibility is enough. Whether this future comes or not, the thinking matters. The planning matters. The imagining matters. So as we drift toward the end of this exploration, remember the possibilities. Remember the challenges. Remember the long view. Remember that change is gradual, that transformation is peaceful, that we have time. Time to understand. Time to adapt. Time to plan. Time to imagine what comes next. The future is uncertain, but it's also full of possibility, full of wonder, full of hope. If robots did all the work, life would change. Profoundly, beautifully, meaningfully, and we would adapt. We would find new meanings, we would discover new purposes, we would create new ways to live, new ways to contribute, new ways to be human. The journey continues, the exploration continues, the imagining continues, and that's enough, that's beautiful, that's peaceful. Sweet dreams, and keep imagining the possibilities. The future is what we make it, and we can make it wonderful, we can make it meaningful, we can make it human. We can create something beautiful, something peaceful, something fulfilling, something wonderful. The journey continues, the exploration continues. The imagining continues. And that's enough. That's beautiful, that's peaceful. The question of how life would change if robots did all the work touches everything. It touches economics, psychology, society, purpose, meaning, what it means to be human. And the exploration itself is valuable. The imagining is peaceful. The wonder of possibility is enough. Whether this future comes or not, the thinking matters, the exploration matters, the consideration matters, the planning matters. The preparation matters, the imagining matters. Because it helps us understand ourselves, who we are, what we need, what we value, our needs. Physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, our potential, what we could become, what we could achieve, what we could create, our possibilities, what could be, what might be, what we could make real. It helps us prepare for change, anticipating it, understanding it, for transformation, embracing it, shaping it, for evolution, participating in it, guiding it. It helps us imagine what could be, possibilities, futures, what might be, scenarios, alternatives, what we could create, together, collectively, beautifully. This thinking is valuable, not just for the future, but for now. It helps us understand our current situation, our current needs, our current possibilities. It helps us see what's working, what's not, what could be better. It helps us plan for now, for the future, for transformation. It helps us create better systems, better structures, better ways. It helps us become more aware, more thoughtful, more intentional, more human, more meaningful, more beautiful. So keep imagining, keep exploring, keep wondering, keep thinking about possibilities, about what could be, about what we could become, about what humanity could achieve. When freed from the need to work, when freed to explore, to create, to contribute, to become, to thrive. The future is open, full of possibility, full of wonder, full of hope. And we can shape it, we can create it, we can make it wonderful, we can make it meaningful, we can make it human. Good night, and sweet dreams. May your dreams be full of possibilities, full of wonder, full of hope, full of the peaceful acceptance of transformation, full of the wonder of evolution, full of the beauty of becoming. Good night.